Scantling fumble on the second play of overtime set up the Indianapolis Colts game-winning field goal, dropping Green Bay to 7-3 on the season. I know they lost, Stephen A., but are the Packers still good enough to win the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't think they are. Partially by default, because when you look at the power brokers in the NFC conference, the bottom line is you look at Tampa Bay. I think Tampa's better. New Orleans clearly is better. Obviously, I look at the Los Angeles Rams and how elite their defense is. I think they're better. Seattle's got Russell Wilson playing at an MVP caliber level. I think that ultimately he can be better. And the bottom line is that when I look at Aaron Rodgers, I look at the Green Bay Packers team devoid of a real running game, and then on the passing front, you got Devontae Adams and Valdez Scantling, and I just don't. I'm a big fan of Devontae Adams, but I just look at Valdez Scantling, and certainly, the turnovers yesterday, obviously that hurt him a lot. I know it hurt his heart to commit those things, and he's a good player, and these things kind of happen. But I think that when you're talking about competing for a Super Bowl championship, those two weapons, you need to have more than them available to you, particularly when you don't have a running game and you don't have an elite defense. You need more than those guys when the success of your team is predicated on Aaron Rodgers and that passing attack. This is not the days of Jordy Nelson with Randall Cobb and those boys. Devontae Adams can ball, but you need more than Valdez Scantling as his sidekick. You don't have that. You don't have much of a running game. You got a defense that ranks 14th against the pass. Overall, I just look at Green Bay and I say to myself, yesterday was emblematic of what we're talking about here. They jumped out to a 28-14 lead. I don't think it's good enough to win it all. I just don't.
Oh, I think they could win the Super Bowl. They're not going to be my favorites to come out of the NFC, but are they good enough to win it? Sure. Should they have drafted Aaron Rodgers' eventual replacement instead of pick up either another receiver to give Rodgers more weapons or a defensive piece that they need? Yeah, probably they should have done that, and we all said that at the time, but they didn't. This is what they are, right? Now, what are they? Are they good enough to win a Super Bowl? People, they're 0-2 against teams with 500 records. Guys, they've played 3 good teams this season, and they're 1-2, and they're a fumble away from being 2-1. The Bucs beat them up, and that was a bad matchup, and it was uncharacteristic of Aaron Rodgers, and the Bucs have an elite defense. But the Packers beat the Saints early, and again, the Colts, if we were to ask this question about the Colts, the answers might be different. The Colts are one of the most well-rounded teams, and look how Phillip Rivers is playing right now. And yeah, okay. But if not for a fumble, they beat the Colts yesterday. And it's not, you look at their schedule, they don't have a very tough schedule coming up.
We'll know what the Steelers will have done by Thursday night because they're playing the Ravens on Thanksgiving. What a huge game in 6 days.
No, it is. And Tampa Bay can't look past the Rams tonight. Looking ahead to Kansas City, get caught looking ahead to Kansas City and mess around and get smacked by the Rams, and then you'll really be in trouble. And I don't think they'll look ahead. Kansas City has an opportunity to see what their opponent is going to look like tonight when they take on the Rams. They can get a feel for what the Bucs are about and how the Rams can attack them and get at them. And I'm sure they'll be dialed in as they game plan, waiting to see what tonight looks like.
I'm curious for tonight, Key. What version of Jared Goff are we going to see tonight?
Hopefully not the Jared Goff that went down to Florida the last time and they played Miami. Hopefully you don't see that Jared Goff, or you don't see first half Jared Goff against the Buffalo Bills. You see a guy who looks like a $100 million quarterback against a defense that a lot of people had as the top in the NFC and now kind of has come back to the pack. The Buccaneers defense was solid and sound early part of the year, but since then they've kind of tailored off a little bit. I know they had a good game against Carolina, but it's the Carolina Panthers a week ago. Now you get a real offense with a real offensive mind coming into town with Sean McVay, the head coach who calls the offensive plays. You got real receivers out there with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Reynolds. You got Jefferson out there. You got tight ends that are there. You got a quarterback, got a running game. It's a little bit different. It'll be a different task for the Bucs defense. But like you said, Jared Goff, what Jared Goff are we going to see? That's going to be key.
No question about it. Once again, hit us up, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Who's the one team Kansas City doesn't want to face in the playoffs? Or if it's easier for you, Key, J, and Z. Key is going with the Raiders. Is the Chiefs' defense good enough to win the Super Bowl? You had mentioned they can score aplenty. They tightened up under defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo last year when they had to. But yet again, I'm watching last night's game, and I know you said Derek Carr's playing great football, but they're just moving it up and down the field. Luckily, they got a guy that can move it down the field just one extra time to help you on offense.
Well, it's the opponent. I know you. I'm in your division. I get a chance to see you every single week because I'm watching. Even though I'm not playing against you, I'm probably watching some sort of tape that has you on it because we play the same opponents. So I'm watching you every single week. So I kind of know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. This isn't Green Bay playing the Indianapolis Colts where they've only seen them a handful of times. This is a team that I see twice a year. Plus, you play Denver, we play Denver. You play the Chargers, we play the Chargers. And then the teams that you play outside the division, we play because we're in the same division. If you play somebody in the other conference, chances are we're playing that same team in the other conference. So every single week, even though I'm not studying game film on you, you show up because I'm studying game film on opponents that we both play.
Let's head to the – go ahead, Jay.
I think the Chiefs' defense is serviceable, Key, right?
Absolutely.
And my thing is that their offense is so potent that it almost gives so much pressure on the opposing team's offense to keep up with that pace. Nick Saban this weekend said something I thought was interesting. He said, it used to be that good defense beats good offense. And he says, good defense doesn't beat good offense anymore. You know what I mean? Good defense doesn't beat. I think what he was meant to say is like if you have a really good offense, it doesn't matter how good your defense is, your offense can outbeat your defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
I read it wrong. Sorry.
But
you know what I meant to say.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. But the problem is those defenses aren't around like that anymore. My Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is not in the NFL right now. The 85 Bears are not around. The Baltimore Ravens defense with Ray Lewis and all those Suggs, and they're nowhere to be found in the National Football League right now. But if you took those defenses that I'm talking about and placed them in the NFL right now, they're going to get the best of them offenses. I was on a Buccaneer team, and our defense was stupid, obviously, playing against a Ram team that was the greatest show on turf. They didn't want no parts of Derrick Brooks now. Right. They was laying down.
Stupid good, by the way,
stupid
for people
good.
that don't know.
No, not stupid smart.
Right.
Stupid good.
And we should mention to Jay's point, right, Saban's a defensive guy, but that's why they've gone to tempo. They've got to realize we have got to score.
Man, Booger McFarland and them dudes, they was going to eat. I know Patrick Mahomes is great and all that, but I'm putting my money on John Lynch and Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice and Booger McFarland and Rondé Barber and Brian Kelly. I'm putting my money on them. I promise you I am. Because I know what they come into the party to do.
Indeed. Let's go to the party. Let's go to the Dr. Pepper call-in line. We're asking you this morning, one team the Chiefs don't want to face in the playoffs. Hit us up, 888-ESPN, Key J and Z on Twitter if that's easier for you. Clinton in Ohio, you're on ESPN Radio. Who does Mahomes now want to see?
I would guess it would be the Steelers. And the reason why is I think they've had some experience of, like, trying to keep, like, Lamar in the pocket. And I think if they keep Mahomes in the pocket, you got Watt coming in, putting a little bit of heat on him. And I do believe that Steelers have the best defensive line to at least cause them the most problems.
Yeah, he certainly can go with the Steelers. The Steelers are not in the question, right? I mean, it's the Steelers and the Raiders, but –